Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm Brian. I'm the host of the Left of Greg show. You're going to be watching the video version of our audio podcast. Please, guys, if you like the video, like it, subscribe to the channel. There's going to be more content down there if you're already a subscriber, and a better way for us to get you guys some more stuff. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them below. Check out our links down below to get a hold of us and to actually find out more places where you can get more information about this. Please like and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook at HBPRNA. Remember, all these cases that we discuss and all these discussions that we have are through the lenses of what we call human behavior, pattern recognition, and analysis. So please like it, share it, tell your friends about it, and we hope you enjoy the show. Thanks.
All right, I'm recording. All right, Greg, we'll go ahead and get started here for the day. I need to tell you that I am terrified. I am horribly scared. Apparently,
you're scared all the time, though. So what is it this time, I should say?
Apparently, the world is coming to an end. All that we are now in the age of.
Oh my God! Don't start.
The coronavirus, COVID-19. Do not refer to it as any other name because.
All right. So listen, you got to help me with this because I'm the village idiot when it comes to specific quotes, but I can get you close. And then you're smart enough that you understand pop culture. You know the quote. Do you remember? I believe it was Men in Black. I believe it was the first one. And there's a scene where the two protagonists of the film are standing there with the person in the office, and it's the same guy that played. I think it's Rip Torn who played in Dodgeball. I drink my own urine, right?
Yeah.
And they're coming up with the Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones are coming up with the thing where, hey, there's a Cerulean battle cruiser circling the world or something like that, and he goes, time out. There's always one. There's always one that's circling the world, and we're on a countdown, and things are going to die. Brian, you and I were discussing this on a podcast not too long ago about the Mayan calendar. And then before that, about this and that. Listen, this is horrific. People are going to die, but people die from car wrecks, and people die from alcoholism and suicide. This is no worse than anything else. It does do one thing. It exposed seams and gaps of comms and support, and maybe it's in the long run it'll be helpful, Brian.
Right. So I think let's start with fear, right? And we'll start with we fear things we don't understand.
Yep.
We fear things we cannot see. So such like this, which I think,
and something that can't be killed, because remember, it's not alive. It's a virus, but it's not alive. So it's not that we can attack and kill it, which is how we look at problems, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think let's start there. So why is there so much hype and hysteria and fear surrounding this? Which, yes, there some of it is warranted in the sense that, hey, we don't have a cure for this disease that's killing people who are susceptible to it, right? So I'm not trying to say that don't worry, stay, everything's fine. But what it is overreaction or overly emotional. So I think that's a good place to start, right? So fear.
I thought of seeing an Animal House where they're looting a food king and the guy's going, slow down, and they trample him, that's where we are. So, hey, if you'll indulge me, let me give you two very brief stories that I'm going to cover in greater detail and a lessons learned down the road of my fear. And then I'd like you to talk about your fear. And then what we'll do is we'll wind that up and say, what's going on with fear? So when I was a kid, it's I won't get into specifics here, and I'll get closer in print. But I had a situation with an uncle. And so every once in a while I had to stay at the uncle's place. My uncle and my aunt lived in our town, let's say. That's close enough for rock and roll. And so my uncle had worked for this company. And back in the day, people that worked for companies had to wear uniforms, not just cops, but everybody. I mean, everybody, and their stuff was always dry cleaned. So even if you worked at the gas station,
you
had a uniform. You know what I'm saying? If you were the checkout person at your local store. So I so feared the type of behavior that was going on these sleepovers that I would take the cardboard insert out of my uncle's shirts that were pressed and ironed for this company that he worked for. And it was to, keep the shirts square and flat. And I would use them for little projects that I would do. So I would take my crayons and I would take my scissors, and instead of doing all the things that I could do, I made weapons. So I made guns and I made knives out of these pieces of cardboard, drew them just, I can draw them today on a dry erase board. That's why
Right.
I have that skill in class, and I would hide them around the house. Grenades, full-size grenades that look like
Right.
Sergeant Rock grenade. And remember, these are out of cardboard, two-dimensional cardboard. And I made them and I hid them all around my room, under my pillow, under my mattress, because I wanted to be able to fight off anybody that came when I was susceptible. And so how scared do you have to be, one, to do that, to put these talismans around to stop all these things, the crucifix from the evil getting to me. And then I'll give you the second one. So played in a lot of different areas and had some experiences. I'm nobody, I'm nothing, but I've been scared before. I mean, scared for my life. But here now, I'm on vacation. I got the kids with me. There's a copper that lived outside of Sanibel Island, Florida. Gave Dog and I a great deal to go down and stay between Sanibel and Captiva and this great place that he owned, and we couldn't afford it. And he said, come down for the weekend. We went down and we were having a ball, horseshoe crabbing it, doing all this other stuff. Nico was swimming out to the, there was a pool at the hotel, and there was a bar in the center of the pool. So they were swimming out just to order a bag of chips, the $9 bag of chips, and it was coming back to the room. And so I had no idea how to surf fish. So I had all my gear with me, and I went down to surf fish. So back in the day, I had this pipe, my calabash that I would wear, and my hat, and I didn't want to smoke, but the pipe seemed cool. And in the water, it was a lot easier having a pipe above the water. And I had my old, you remember the old Air Force vest with all the pockets on it for helo cruise? And they had the pistol thing here. Well, I took the pistol thing off, and I turned it into a fishing vest. So I'm out there in the surf, and I'm fishing. And I got out to the point where my feet are getting lifted up by the water, and I'm just touching the sand with my Tevas, And I go, okay, fat guy, too far. Time to head back for shore. And Shelly's on the shore with the kids, horseshoe crabbing it. And there's a bunch of old people, and they're all looking, and they're waving. So I'm waving back. So as I'm fishing, a dorsal fin comes in front of me, and I need you to imagine that it's the size of a car hood, and it goes right in front of me, and I can feel my feet get swept out below me. I am getting chills right now thinking of the size of the shark that moves my 300-pound ass, even in the water, a foot, okay? You get what I'm saying? Everything moves. So now I turn, and here comes another one, and it's almost hitting me, Brian. I got to tell you, it's so close, and boom, it comes by, and the water's moving. I drop my rod, I drop my pipe, and now I'm panicking. So I'm looking for a way out. You ever try to run in the water? You ever try to run in the water that's up to your chest? So absolutely everything. And I'm looking back, and the people are screaming on shore, and they're just yelling like, please come out of the water. Oh my God, look at all the sharks. The sharks are now swarming. They're moving in around me, and I run until I'm on the beach, prostrated down in front of a group of people that are still looking at the surf and go, look at the dolphins. Look how many dolphins came in to get the fish. I will tell you in here, Brian, and in here, I was petrified for my life. I was so ice cold. I knew what was coming next. I had envisioned I can live with losing a limb. It's okay, because if the arm, I can still use the other arm to put on the tourniquet. I had gone through all these. So as a kid, I had the fear of the unknown and the fear of something I knew very well that petrified me to the point that I put out these little cardboard landmines. And as an adult, I had a fear of something that has an unblinking eye and doesn't have warm blood, and I can't negotiate with, that's going to take me off the grid while I'm fishing. You get my point? So now I know you've had some.
Well, yeah, but to stick with that is, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there.
Really?
We don't have the time on the podcast to unpack all of it.
It's in this general area right here.
Right. But the when it brings back to fear, and what we're seeing a lot now, and with people overreacting, or I'm going to buy, 47 rolls of toilet paper,
so that brings to mind something right there. But first of all, folks, this is Brian deflecting because he doesn't want to talk about his own fear.
Well, no, you got to go back to what you were talking about.
No, I get it. But let's talk about the toilet paper. Who was the first person that said, I don't want to crap outside anymore? Let's shit in my house.
Well, that's what I don't understand. Is it like suddenly why of all the things and the way this situation is
Yep.
affecting my life personally to where our work is we got a lot that all of a sudden that
Everything's suffering.
just stop, and then
Yep.
to having to homeschool the hamster here every day and get a lesson plan and go over all that stuff. But not just that, but like how all the different ways it's affecting
Yep.
me. At no point did I think it was going to suddenly affect my bowel movements significantly enough to where I need to go stock up on toilet paper. Like, hey, baby, I'm going to be pooping a lot more. We better stock up.
You know how tiny
where does
Gunnison
that come from? Yeah.
You know how tiny Gunnison is. So in the Gunnison paper, the local Gunnison paper, which, by the way, folks, in the insider section has a great picture of our CEO, Shelley.
Picture of Shelley.
So look it up. It's great. And she's running things, folks. She's like this, ready to go, saying, bring me the COVID. And I'm joking on that, but she is in there. There's an article from the Gunnison Wastewater Treatment Facility that says, listen, with all the run on toilet paper now, if you're going to be flushing, make sure that you don't flush socks, paper towels, all this other stuff that you're using to wipe your ass. And I go, time out. Who in our community has resorted to using a dishcloth to wipe themselves? So what is it, Brian? Hoarding mentality and stockpiling mentality. The very first thing that we think about are things that we're not going to get. Well, listen, has Amazon stopped delivering to your house?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
You still order from the Walmart and go down there? So the stores are empty because it shows the primal fear that I'm not going to be protected in some manner. So why did the cop last night blow his brains out in the lobby of his own police station? It's where he felt comfortable. Where do we feel comfortable? We feel comfortable when we're taking a dump and we're reading the paper and it's inside, not outside, whoever that guy is. And so we think, well, I have to have some toilet paper. You know, the other thing there's a run on? Ramen. What do you got to have to cook ramen? Well, the third thing there's a run on, water. The shelves are empty. We're not going to be out of water. We got plenty of water. We're doing fine. We got strategic oil reserves and
this goes into that unnatural fear of things we don't understand and that we don't know and that we can't see. So the even buying up the water, it's like there's nothing wrong with our water supply. Nope. It's not affected by this. There's in some cases, I don't know, like suddenly water's the biggest issue, or toilet paper. And it goes back to I think what you said. So comfort, and I would even say because we cannot control this, and we can no longer have control over our lives, like our work or where we go. We don't. Humans don't like that, right? We suddenly, because I'll give you the situation.
And we don't like being ordered around. You're exactly right.
Well, I look at over the weekend. So we go for a walk like we always do with the dog, and now because everything is stay at home, don't go anywhere. Greg, there are now by me, there's 2 to 3 times as many people out now than there ever were doing it. And we're going, wait a minute. I saw people
because you can't have it both ways.
But I saw people out running, Greg, who looked like they've never run a day in their life, and they're starting their first fitness program.
Good for them.
Yeah, good on them. But you now that where there was no one out before and you could do the social distancing, now every place is starting to get busier, and you're like, wait, that's the opposite. But I think it goes down to a lot of control. So if I fear things, I need control of my life. So one of those ways
I need to bring control back. You're exactly right.
So I can feel control if I go by and if I have this massive supply of bottled water and toilet paper and
I can see it, Brian.
Beans.
I can see it. I can stack it around me and I can feel it.
Yep.
You're exactly right. You're onto something.
And that's not too much. That's not different as far as I'm concerned psychologically than your talismans, your little things that you cut up, your
that I
weapons
surrounded,
protected yourself with.
So I could see him. You're exactly right.
It just going, hey, I don't know. I know these weapons are used to protect people, and I need protection, so I'm going to do this. It's the same exact thing that you're
exactly right.
The ability to go out and buy a real gun or a weapon or this, so that's what you did in that situation to survive. You had to and when I say survive, that's a way of mental survival. Okay, well,
your physical and mental survival, specifically during times of stress, are crucial. They're critical. Because if not, what are you living for? Do you get what I'm trying to say? If you're just existing, that's a pretty horrible way of living, huh?
Well, right, and you can go. That's why you get these unnatural reactions and to items that you wouldn't think necessary, right? Because if you're like a prepper, or you're someone who always has this, or you live like even like in a excuse me, somewhat austere environment, like up in Gunnison during the winter,
Yeah.
you have to have certain supplies on hand at all times that I don't ever need to have, right? Because of where I live and
You're
the
exactly
environment,
right.
I'm never going to face those challenges. But for you specifically, you need that. So you, because of the environment you live in, you have to prepare certain things. So you naturally do this. But have you ever gone, Shell, hey, we gotta triple up or quadruple up on toilet paper?
I'm pooping so much. No. So, and
But
you're right,
that's
honest.
but
Let's go back to that. Let's sharpen that a little bit. One, because your broadcast gives us the ability to talk to humans, and because of Brian's vision, more people are watching than ever before on a podcast. And thank you, Brian, and thank you, folks that are listening and tuning in. One, let's disabuse ourselves. Let's rid ourselves of the term social distance and get back to what it really is. It's proxemic distance, physical distance.
Yeah.
Physical distance of 6 feet will stop you from having people expel their lung droplets on you, which could get you sick. Now, if you say social distance, there's people out there that need mental health. They need the ability to talk to you and hear that everything is going to be okay. Specifically, your kids, your loved ones, the elderly, a person in a nursing home that would love a card or a letter or you calling them. But by saying social distance, there's a stigma with it that we can't be social. And Brian, you and I saw that firsthand on, I believe it was Thursday of last week, where a person was exhibiting very antisocial behavior and ordering people around. Social distance, get back to the. Well, guess what? Everybody bristled, and it was almost a homicide. Okay?
Yeah, well, you
am
were
I
almost
kidding?
the defendant.
I was. Will the defendant please rise? But listen, I am not making fun of this issue.
Not
Social
at all.
distance is the wrong way of thinking. It's a physical distance, and it's a difference with a distinction that you and I can help. Because listen, folks, this is the last time you want to socially distance yourself, because the people around you, your neighbors, love you and they need you. They might even not know you, but they need you. You need to show solidarity. You need to show that you can get up and go out in the sun and do normal stuff and work in the backyard and play with your kids, because if you don't, this will crush you. And it's not that bad.
So
okay, it's not.
And one of the things that feed into the fear and uncertainty, I think you just brought up a great point of how we articulate how we articulate the situation and what we need to do, right?
Yes.
So early on you had, and this isn't, I don't, my political views. I hate them all, but
exactly.
When,
is anarchy a political view? I don't think so. I don't think you can qualify. I think it's a psychological stance.
No, I believe. What is it? I'm a nihilist. I believe in nothing. Right.
Exactly. So even me.
No, but that was the thing, is like early on when you had like administration officials trying to say like, hey, calm down, like let's not, they weren't saying that this isn't a big deal. They were trying to calm people down.
Yes.
Well, that got twisted around into like, hey,
why would they calm us down? What are they hiding from us?
Yeah, but and so I would look at that as like, well, look, that was just a bad communication, right? We see that all the time with companies of PR stuff, like right there's a whole massive organizations that are designed specifically to help you with PR stuff because it's so incredibly important.
You're exactly right.
And I think
PIO, a public information officer, even police and first responders are doing that.
And
now.
So some of this stuff can get taken out of context or people overreact from it. And I like the understanding how you manage things and what control feels like and what you can and can't do, because that if you're not used to that, so if you don't have a background or so, I mean, we're many times have we been in horrible situations where things fall through or plans go this way and you're just expecting
because of you mostly. I just want to make sure our listeners and readers and viewers, most of the problems that befall us happen because of Brian.
Oh, I wasn't supposed to kill that guy. We need to leave immediately then because he's dead.
Is he dead?
Right there.
No, but he's trying.
He's trying.
So, but listen, Brian, you brought up a great point, and let's use this as an example. You know that when we had rental sleds and we were out at different places conducting practical exercise and experiments, that we had to have a Pioneer kit. Well, the Pioneer kit comes from the pioneers in the old days, and nobody wants to be the Donner Pass party where they're dining on the can you pass me more of Jim? So the idea here is that in Colorado and every place we go, because you know that every time that we MTT'd it, we mobile training teamed it, we would create a Pioneer for the sled that we were in. Brian, you and I just did it last week at Liberty.
Yeah.
And we did it 2 weeks ago at SRI. So the idea behind the back is that in your sled, you have to have a couple of things. One, you have to have a PFAC, a personal first aid kit that has your basic stuff in it. And you always got to have your door wedge, and you always got to have your tourniquet. I mean, that's just 101. But what are the other kind of things? Get yourself a toe strap. Doesn't have to be very long. Can be very strong, and you can use a toe strap for a whole bunch of stuff, including what it's designed for, the toe strap. You throw that in this jump bag, this little to-go bag, the bug out bag that you're going to have. You might need tire chains in the environment you're in. You might need a small shovel to dig a piece of the vehicle. So it's regional. It's temporal. It's what
that goes into normal preparation stuff, or
for any event though.
Normal, but I think the issue now is there's a lot of people that have never done something like that before.
Yes,
and don't have that training or
Brian,
skill set.
We need to tell them to calm down.
Well, this is where fear gets in it. Well, I would rather say why calm down, because you brought up a good point we were discussing earlier.
Yeah.
About kids and how they learn, right, and how they learn from their parents and their social situations. So if you're creating an environment of fear, what does that do to that kid, right?
So let's do that two sides of that, Brian. First, do me a favor. Take me back to Chicago. Take me back to the wooden or plastic spoon in your mouth upbringing that you had, not the platinum spoon like clearly I had in Detroit, but take me to how you knew mom was serious and it was time to get your ass in the kitchen.
So that's basic how humans learn, right, and our boundaries. But that was simple. We can all remember when you're a kid and it's like, hey, my mom going, hey, Brian, come here. Brian, come here. Well, I'm busy. I'm doing my thing, right? I hear it, but I don't, because I'm focused on whatever it is that I'm doing, because I'm a kid. But, that escalates. And once you hear that, Brian, John, Marin, get your butt over here. Well, that's serious, because I know that there's going to be consequences after that. So when I hear my full name, being addressed, I came running. Yeah.
So you have an amygdala. Okay. Everybody's got a limbic system. At the center, your amygdala are pumping out messages. And remember, folks, that they're sending out 10,000s of messages to the ones that they're receiving to make sure that you have homeostasis in your environment. The number one thing is your personal survival, not your tribe, not your team, your personal survival.
Starts with you.
Because if you can't contribute and become the coral reef, right? So now you got a kid. A kid doesn't have that amygdalic response to fear and danger and stress, so they've got to borrow yours. So like a lamprey, a little kid will watch the environment, and if you're going, hello, little one, how are you? And some kid right now is being freaked out at home. Hold that up to him when you rewind the tape. They're going to smile, and they're going to mimic, and then the mirror neurons are going to come in, and the kid's going to be happy. So the oxytocin, the drugs will flow, and everything's fine. Now, if you come up and you go, hey, you little bastard, stop crapping in that diaper, you're going to get a different response. You're going to get that fear response. And guess what? The catecholamine group is going to work in a different, and your dopamine is going to be kicking, and your cortisol is going to make you poop a little bit, and you're going to recoil in fear. So just like your mom understood that if she called you, and just like your brain understood, I still got time, fear works the same way. So little kid is now in his environment, not completely in control of his amygdala. Father figure, or a parental unit number one comes in.
Yeah, okay, good.
Parental unit,
because you just said the not fully in control of their amygdala, so
they're not.
A good point.
Yeah, the kid isn't. The kid is not.
But elaborate that real quick, unless that's where you're going into.
That's what I'm going to go to.
Okay.
So when the people come into the room, and you got the parent figure one and the parent figure two, even if they're parent of the week, parent of the day, whatever relationship they are, they come in and they start a fight. You've always been an asshole. Well, yeah, I'm the king of the assholes, but you're cooking blows, and now they're screaming, and they're going back and forth, and then they break somebody and something cries. The kid is looking and trying to model this behavior.
Yeah.
And it makes absolutely no sense to them. One, they have no file folders for it. The second thing is their amygdala is supposed to warn them and prevent danger, yet the people that are taking care of them, feeding them the lessons, are now completely out of control, screaming and crying. So how are you going to give me an emotional register to create a file folder without corruption when my amygdala isn't fully formed yet, and I'm borrowing yours, and yours is out of control because you're fighting and arguing? So now every time that I get in a similar situation, I'm going to have a blip in the radar and go, well, this person disagreed with me. I think I need to call them a bitch and slap them. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
No, that's good. Keep it going there.
The problem is that it's not one thing. It's one thing on this ball, and the ball is constantly turning, and the ball is picking up a piece of gum and some sand and a shoe print. So inside that kid's mind, the kid has to model behavior for events. And so when they see you and you go, Timmy, don't be afraid. It's just a storm. Come on into bed. They cry all in because thunder and lightning and everything else. And now what you do is you either have that kid in bed and you're breastfeeding them till they're 19, or you talk about them and say, hey, it's the Angels bowling again, or whatever it is. It's an atmospheric. It doesn't matter what you tell them as long as you give them not only what's going to happen, but what the consequences are, Brian. So now we're back to Chicago again. Brian, you know, Josephine Marin, get your ass in here. So your brain runs on a series of if-then propositions, yes? And the chemical and electrical signals just help us carry those out. That's where fear comes from. Fear, when I smell fear from my olfactory, says, wow, there's something decomposing over there. I don't want to decompose. I'm bugging out.
Right.
Fear from my digestion says, nose smells, wow, that's probably not good for me, but I'm hungry. I eat it anyway. I immediately start vomiting it up because my body's going, not sure what that is, but it's not simpatico. We got to get rid of it before it kills us. So how can we not have fear responses to something like this? Well, specifically when the news media is using red color and going danger, update.
Well, that's the point. So you know, you talked about it from how we learn, right? That fear and how our amygdala gets formed, and it's all through like it's so
and matures over time like a ripening fruit.
So you tell people like you're, you know, whether you think you're teaching your kid or not, you are.
You damn right.
Whether you're being proactive about it or doing nothing about it, you're teaching them everything, right? Because they just model your behavior. But that continues.
How to stand, how to act, how to respond.
But socially, that continues throughout life. We do that as adults. It's not about just learning, meaning to have a fully formed amygdala at you know, hopefully by now. It's just constantly getting bombarded and firing off and all.
Hold on, time out. We're not sure, Brian.
So let's
the
not
results aren't in
yet.
Right,
let's not use me as an example. But that's the thing, is we still learn from our environment. So so now what happens if you've got that, you know, the I don't know how to, the trogs who are going in and just as soon as this occurs, I'm going up and buying up everything.
Or trogs. Everybody knows those.
Troglodyte is okay. You can look that up, folks. Troglodyte. But you know, so what happens is now they're going and buying everything up. Now that next level of someone who might be more rational starts going, what? Well, crap, they're buying everything up. I need to go and get in there before it runs out for my family.
Because there won't be any next week. And now you see the old people and the young people.
But they never would have had that thought until what it all takes is that one person, like we always say.
What's Gladwell call it? The tipping point. Sell another million books, Gladwell, and don't give anything back to your community, you bastard.
Well, everyone
nice podcast.
He's never done anything, but the people he's written about are incredible human beings.
And he's fast.
But on that, I'm still going to learn that from my environment. So if I see that happening, now I have a fear, a natural reaction. Go, well, wait a minute. We are going to run out of supplies. I'm not going to have anything to. So now I feel like I don't have control of my life. Where 5 minutes ago I did, and I understood the threat. I mean, meaning enough to know that I don't understand it. I'm ignorant of it. So I should heed advice from someone who does and get it. Okay, well. The warnings are clearly for a certain group of people who are have pre-existing conditions or older. Well, now I'm worried about my parents and grandparents, but not about myself, and keeping this rational. But then I see all this other behavior going on. I can't not react to that. I can't not do something because then I'm going to miss out on something, right? I mean, is that how that snowball effect?
You're exactly right. You call it snowball. I call it trickle down. We call it spiral. Doesn't matter what you call it. If everybody did a knee-jerk reaction to everything that was coming all the time, how good would we be? So historically,
there are some people who do that, who have
all the time, and the
that low level of emotional maturity or whatever you want to call it.
But wouldn't you see that? Wouldn't you agree with me, Brian? Because you're a subject matter expert on life. Wouldn't you agree with me that it's exacerbated many times by what we see, hear, and read? And then when, for example, somebody responded this morning to whatever social media thing, and the person said, hey, it looks like so-and-so is getting a handle on it. Then the next thing comes in, oh, it's the damn Chinese, the virus got out of the thing, the monkey escaped, bit a human, and now the flowers are dying. And it's all related to the bees. People are taking these ridiculous, inane connections, and they're throwing them through. Look, every time that you wear a mask, and you don't know why you're wearing a mask because you only need to wear a mask for this, you're taking it out of Renee Clemens' face, who's working back in Detroit in the emergency room. You get what I'm trying to say? So the same thing with the gloves. It was a guy at Walmart over the weekend, and he had all the gloves that were packed up and everything else. And I'm looking at the gloves, and I'm looking at the cleaning solutions, and I'm looking at the bleach being empty, and I'm like, what were you filthy bastards doing a month ago? What were you
Right.
doing in December? Were you not cleaning? Were you not washing up? Were you not wearing, gloves when you were prepping your meat and everything?
So
It's ridiculous because there is no change from then to now. It should be the same hygienic practices.
so part of our everyone as a a human reaction to this is going to, so I think because my thing is, well, how do I get around this? How do I understand it better? How do I not have that? What
Yeah.
can I do about it? Because if you basically we're saying is that some of our natural reaction is to be scared and is to be
Yes.
unsure and is to, so now I have to go into, how do I get my information? Who do I listen to? Where does it come from? Because you got, just go on any social media. Everyone's an expert now. I love that I Googled something 5 minutes ago, and now I'm going to go post something very serious about it online when I just learned it 5 minutes ago. I think that's a strange standard that most folks seem to be
or just using a useless platitude. Don't worry, folks, everything will be okay.
Yeah,
The sun will shine another, kiss my ass.
Yeah,
Keep that too, right?
Because there's with any type of uncertainty, there is fear. So we are going to, I have to have some control in my life. So I can, my thing is, my friend Jess brought up that, she's like, hey, I was told as a kid, my parents taught me that, hey, sometimes your feelings can lie to you. I'm like, oh, that's genius. Because meaning I don't have to get emotionally overwhelmed by everything and feel that scare. But when it's going on around us, obviously that becomes a lot more difficult, and we are kind of biologically primed for that, right? For survival.
But we need to not diminish our real survival responses.
Right.
What happens is this situation mimics our survival response, right? And it's unhealthy way, because the more it mimics it, the more it's going to be able to take away when a real incident happens. And we know this is historically significant because we know about parables of the boy who cried wolf. We've heard those things before. So there's gonna be another virus. Now, we hope that
just one every couple of years. Like that's
exactly H1N1, bird flu. Okay,
yeah,
but what I'm saying,
flu.
Brian, is
or wait,
that
can I call it swine flu, or does that piss off pigs?
That's being pejorative. But Brian, what we have to hope is that we'll learn a lesson from this to go forward. So look at Never Fight a Clown, our dear friend from Australia, Scotty Witt. Look at Andy Reese, McCaskill, a genius at this, Michelle Palladini. All the people that you and I play with that we like, that are resilient people, all share the same behaviors because they understand how to self-soothe. They understand how to take some time for them, how to ground themselves and take a look and put things in compartments and say, okay, my physical health through this emergency, which it's a pandemic, and my mental health through this are both on par equally. And guess what? If my physical health goes away, I'm probably going to succumb to something bad. And if my mental health goes away, I'm going to have a front sight mark on the roof of my mouth.
Yeah, but
we can't have that.
What you just brought up, I think, is a great way to approach some of the information or people that we follow, or this gets into a number of areas. And you just mentioned all people that we've had on, and why do we like them is because their message has been consistent, and it's been consistent throughout whatever else is going on in the environment. Their message still applies in that scenario, in that situation. Like us, like we say the same things all the time. It might be in a new domain, it might be in a new area, it might be a new person, but to us it's the same consistent message. And just like if you're doing long distance shooting, right, consistency is accuracy, right?
Absolutely,
every single time. When I go to adjust my shot, well, maybe my body position was off, maybe the gun was off, maybe the sight was here, maybe if I took a different point of aim, right? That's if I don't do it the same way every time, I'm never going to have a baseline from which to.
You're going to be chasing that shot group the rest of your life. You're exactly right.
So all of those folks that you just mentioned, because I look at them on social media, is they're still posting the exact same message, the exact same thing of what to do and how to do it.
Not everybody is. So you got these people over here that are going, I'm going to use this to make money. These people here that are going to sensationalize it. These people here that are the fear mongers. These are just the assholes that love turmoil.
The scientific or legal term, I guess I should say, that I learned from my old man on that one is called bandwagon jumper honors. I believe that's
perfect. That's perfect. That's Urban Dictionary 101. It has your dad next to it. You know what I'm saying? Throwing punches at the mom and drinking while he's saying it.
Well, that's so we can go back to the fear thing and forming amygdala in a second, but I think that that consistency is what you should look for. What's someone's consistent message?
Message. Hold on, just 1 second.
The whole time, they likely have a lot more artifacts and evidence to back it up. They likely have. If you have to,
or they're the perfect charlatan.
Either way, they're either the most likely or the most dangerous, right?
You're exactly right.
Because if you stay consistent, now you may not agree with it. It's like that's what everyone would say about Bernie Sanders. Okay, he's got some crazy ideas. He's a little out there on the political scale, but he's been saying the same thing for 4 decades. So
40 years.
So you know what's
going to both, and they haven't done anything.
But you know what their message is, right?
Yep.
He's never going to go, hey, you know what? And flip.
That's why are you surprised by Trump? Trump's message is so shut up if you're going to get surprised by it, right? But listen to this. This is a way to frame the exact argument you're making. So I'm in Colorado, Rogue Manor West, up in Little Gunnison, down in Denver, which is Flatlanders, flat earthers. And Polis just comes out and he goes, shelter in place, do this, do all that other stuff. Folks, time out. I'm not trying to geek anybody up. Look at your local news media.
Yeah.
But how serious is the problem to Governor Jared Polis? The liquor stores and pot shops are exempt from the warning. Okay. But he suggests that you should probably still keep your physical distance of 6 feet. So you're closing schools, right, but the marijuana dispensaries are still open. Do you see what I'm talking about?
I would back that message for a number of reasons.
Keep in mind, but we've got a policy with the company. I understand.
But you do see that, and we make exceptions. We say, hey, this is what it is. This is who. But we make exceptions, and I will tell you this: that's a fiscal exception, I bet, for the state. Because where do they get their money from? They get their money from liquor taxes, from marijuana taxes, and so they're like, we got to stay afloat. I guarantee that's what it is. It's
You're
not
exactly
a necessity.
Right. But I want to talk fear, Brian. Look, you know that I'm afraid of the internet. You know I'm afraid of social media. Yeah. So you've been my guide and my mentor, and you've been helping me to find Grindr and all those wonderful stuff. Right?
Gotcha, that beautiful.
And it was just educational stuff, right? So I want you to understand.
How have those meetings been going?
It's my arm is killing me. But the idea I want you to think of, Brian, is I came from a world where marijuana was bad, madness, and I was hooking people, and it was zero tolerance policy. Now it's anything goes. So wait a minute. In Corona, in COVID-19, I don't fully understand it, but for the first time in my life, they're saying, don't go to the emergency room.
Yeah.
Don't go to the hospital. For the first time in my life, and I'm almost 60, they're saying, don't go to church. Stay home from church. That message, Brian, the difference in the community, then calling it social distancing, that's enough to get to the hackles are raised. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know what to do next. So controlling the message and your comms going out, the transmission are so important because people don't look. The kids went to spring break and now they got coronavirus. What did you expect was going to happen? They're kids. Yeah. They're gosh damn kids. The message was wrong.
That's Florida. And I think Florida can survive anything. I don't know. But anyway, you brought up a great point right there. And I think that, this goes to show. So we've become so reliant on technology, so much stuff on the internet, right? We're all on social media. People are always staring at their phones. Now something like this that happens where we say you can't go meet other people. You can't go do that. And what's everyone doing? They're climbing at the walls going, wait a minute.
What do I do?
But I think it's when we get through this and look back, that's the takeaway is humans need other humans.
Yes.
Desperately. We need human connection. Even I like staying in this cardboard box down on the railroad track.
Exactly.
I still need to go.
His mirror is just a white blank piece of paper, so he can look back at the soulless wretch that he is, folks. And I love him. Here's the thing: I love this guy, and I know there's nothing there.
So I still need to go link up with my other bum friends and huff paint and skin pop heroin and all that stuff. But
and Michaela yell at you to make sure you know you're irrelevant.
Yeah, but I think that whole and that goes to the point. It's when times get tough or they're uncertain or we're unsure, we look to those institutions that have stood the test of time. So you brought up religion. People go, well, I can go to church, I can be my community, and now we can't do that anymore. It's like, Well,
Part of my mental health. It's part
what
of
the hell am I
my
supposed to do?
faith. Yep.
And I think
Now
that's the
what?
important part to address versus
It
all
is.
the chaos and all the fear and all the, hey, this needs to happen and that needs to happen. And I'm suddenly a board certified epidemiologist who's been studying contagious diseases for my whole life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So suddenly we're all those experts because we hear something. But
Yep.
not to get into that crap, that junk that no one should, just don't be a part of it.
The non-science.
Don't be clickbait. I tell everyone, don't be clickbait. Don't post clickbait. Be
There's other kind
that.
of baits that you could be. If you're going to be a baiter,
Yeah.
don't be a clickbaiter. Hey, that's going on the business card, Mary.
That's going on.
That's going on the business card right there.
Hang on.
Grinder, the other way.
Don't be a baiter. What was it? Be a.
There's another kind of baiter. Don't be a clickbaiter.
Yeah,
There's plenty of baiters that you want to be out there.
Yeah. So anyway, that'll be a good Instagram post right there. But no, and because what you just said, you said a couple things. One, this gets back to the real problem here is our lack of human connection and interaction during a stressful time when we would need it more than we typically do. So that's important. That I think that's a good metric to understand why people are acting the way they are. That's a great explanation. And I wrote it down. I like how you worded this. It's the situation mimics our survival response in an unhealthy way.
Yep.
So let's kind of elaborate that on a little bit, because I like what you're saying, because it does, because that's what I do. When I see people going out and buying up stuff, I go, crap, like I know I'm good. Like I'm good on food. We have stuff that we need, but like, is it going to be gone? But then what do? All right, I get online, I start researching people that I know or that I follow. Guess what they're saying? Supply chains are good. We just lifted a restriction on truck drivers so they can actually drive more hours than they normally can. All supply, every farming, every supplier,
the people came on and said, we got plenty of stuff. We're coming.
Good. It's all good. So it might sell out a little faster than it normally does, but it's still going to get refilled. So, okay, well that kind of soothes that gives me a little relief in terms of fears like that. But you said, it mimics survival response in an unhealthy way. Why would this be an unhealthy way? Because it is realistic. It's not an unrealistic threat.
But it's unhealthy. So I'll show you why. And again, I can't go straight at it. So have you ever been in your adult life? I don't care what you did as a kid in the bathroom, but in your adult life, have you ever gone through, because we spend a lot of time at airports, folks, into the bathroom, gone to the bathroom, been washing your own hands, and you come out and you see somebody that bypasses the hand wash and goes right back out?
Absolutely. All the time.
In this day, in this age, I still see it, and you know me, I say something. Now, I got to say something clever like that. Hey, forgot to wash your dick skinners there, man. Or something, just to get everybody to look at them so I don't get beat up.
You got no problem playing the foot tapping game in the stalls, but you don't want to wash your hands, buddy?
Right. So you know me, I'll be my sarcastic, boisterous, asshole-ish self because I want to make a point of that person. Now, you see that happen all the time where a person will touch their face or mouth. Listen, we're humans. There's a certain bandwidth of stuff that's neural responses that we can't control, and they're going to continue. So telling a person not to touch their mouth, their eyes, or their nose is one of the hardest things in the world. What do we do when we tell a kid, don't suck your thumb? We got to go through all of these voodoo rituals and put Tabasco sauce on their gosh damn binky so they don't suck on it. So what happens is this is a real response, but it's not the Spanish flu that wiped out a bunch of kids and killed pregnant women and did all this other stuff. Okay, it does have targets. If you're already sick and you got respiratory disease and you're old, sorry to tell you that you're more at a risk than somebody else is. Okay, but everything has certain risks like that. Driving when you're getting older has a risk. Okay, so what happens is your startle response and your fear response and the gradually building electrochemical neurotransmitters warning you that I don't think I should go in that haunted house. All of those things are there to protect you. And guess what? If we use them over and over, and we're constantly getting scared by our environment, right now, the news media is meaningless. And I want to take you back to Wolf Blitzer, during the invasion, during the shock and awe period and everything else. Nobody knew what was going on, but the next thing that you know, we had 24-hour news. And then we had pundits, and then we had 6 people screaming at you, then we had 12. Now there's 9, and people now in the thing are going, look at the screen, watch what's going on there. These talking heads need to go away, because what they're doing is fomenting fear. And fear is at a level where now we're not going to be able to trace the peaks and valleys. Those peaks and valleys are essential to our long-term existence. So by mimicking this as a look out behind that tree, how many times can you do that before you just don't give a damn anymore? And then you're going to get a Wolverine biting you or whatever the thing is going to be.
That's like anytime you get the stress hormones involved, overreacting
Yep.
all the time. That's where what the long-term health effects of that are huge, but that leads to depression. That's PTS and all that stuff, is that overstimulating that amygdala, constantly overstimulating the amygdala.
So worry about the real things, Brian. Look, your child is in the other room coloring while you're on this call. Shelly is at work working her ass off in extra hours because you and I have a couple of gigs that were canceled because we can't travel.
Yeah, she's working for the county though. She's helping in this process. She's actually out there, which I love that we're sitting here. We have the luxury of sitting here talking about this. So think about that. If you're
she's on the front line.
She's on the front line. So like if you're not on the front lines, shut your mouth for a minute. As we're doing a podcast, I'm telling people to shut your mouth.
Shut up over there. No, but Brian,
I understand the irony.
Look, my neighbor Lanny, my dear friend Lanny down there. I put him in a lessons learned. I put the picture, and he never responded. So clearly he can't read, the bastard. But Lanny's wife, they came in and closed her shop. She's got a hair and nail salon. Lanny just informed me that the airport went to minimum manpower, so it's opening and closing personnel, and so money is going to be tight. Now there's plans, and things are going to get better. And don't worry, for the most part, all of us. But there are going to be people that are going to have these problems. That's a problem to look at, not this nebulous crap that's on the news every day with shit we can't handle. So why are they giving it to us? Because it's selling ad space, and they're in front of you.
So there's these are I love that you're working those in scurrilous and spurious. I hear those.
You know me, I love them. Your dad loves those too. Don't even lie about
those are old terms.
Yeah. It's a gat, it's a rod, it's a heater. All of a sudden I'm transported back to the 1927.
Yeah, I know. I love how you use references from before you were even born. You literally talked about Reefer Madness.
I'm reincarnated.
No one even knows what
Reefer Madness. It's a great film. If you haven't seen the film, folks, go out and get it. No, but go ahead.
It's apparently even better when you're stoned, but
it really is actually.
No. Well, one big picture. This is when I think our country as a whole is at its best. Is during times of crisis. That's what's made us better, and that's what actually, people want to talk about what we are in the image of the rest of the world. But actually, it's during times of when we're in crisis that people outside look like, hey man, America's going to solve it, or they're going to figure this out if they can do it. Because if they can do it, anyone can. But I think, and that's during times of crisis is what bonds us and brings us together. So the net effect is I always look for, all right, well, what's the long game here? What's the long term? Stop worrying about fighting battles. I'm here to win the war. But you brought up a good thing that and I know Andy Reese talks about this a lot. So Deliberate Discomfort, everyone, check that book out. But it's like the negative versus the positive, like you just said, hey, don't suck your thumb. Well, what do I immediately want to do? Hey, you can't go out. What I immediately want to do, instead of turning that into, hey, why don't you focus on things around the house? Hey, why don't you focus on doing this? Hey, why don't you focus on some of these other things that you haven't in a while? It's literally like the same thing. Me, I'm up at the gym every day. I can't go to a gym now, so I'm going nuts, but I've had enough stuff in the garage for McKaylee. So that's where she works out, and I've got some weights in. My buddy left me the nylon sandbags that I filled with little rocks so I can still do stuff. But instead of going like, hey, my back squat's going to go down, my bench press is going to go down, now it's like, well, no, let's just look at it from a completely different way that I haven't worked out for like this in a long time. And I'm out there with Harper in the morning. We're throwing sandbags around, weighted bags. We're dragging stuff. We're carrying each other. We're running. We're doing all this other stuff that I only wouldn't do. And so now I'm going to develop that to a much higher level than it's ever been. And then that way, when I go back to this, I can change it up again. And I think so changing that narrative from, hey, don't look at the things you can't do, start looking at the things you can do.
You have the power to change the message. You have the power to read the messages you want and assimilate those that you don't to the junk pile. Listen, have you ever been, this is the stupidest question that I've ever asked in my entire life. Marin, have you ever been inside of a bar? Okay.
That is the stupidest question you've ever asked.
I want everybody that's listening or watching, I want you to imagine walking into a bar. It's dark. Then you go up to the bar and you see, exactly, move Brian out of the way. You walk up to the bar and you sit facing straight ahead. Why? Because a bar is built by people that understand drinkers, and I drink alone, okay? And so I want to go in there with my good friend Johnny Walker, Black and Red. You know all the songs. Why? Because depression. And now I want to sit there, and you're going, well, nobody goes to the bar to be depressed. They go to have fun. I don't know what bars you've been going to. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But alcohol is a depressant. So the situation that we're having right now, what do people want to do? People want to recede back to their home, turn off the lights. They want to drink. They want to pull their blanket on. I'm saying you got to do the exact opposite. I'm saying you got to go for that run today. You got to get that stroller, put your kid in, get out there and get some vitamin D because it's good for everything. You got to go work in the yard. You got to go, you know what? You got to use social media for what it was designed for and help somebody in your community. Or you got to call the old folks home and say, hand this phone to any old person that doesn't get visited a lot and strike up a conversation. There's a positive or a negative, and you can allow it to just beat you like a 16-ounce gloves in the dark until you're laying on the ground and then kick you and shit on you. Or you can turn around and you can say, I'm not going to let this act define me. I am not going to let, you know what? COVID may kill me, but I'm not going to be a willing participant. And I think that message alone, Brian, is saying that you can control the message. You can turn off the TV. I haven't watched the television since this thing started because I refuse to play into that.
Well,
By the way, what's happening up there?
Yeah, that's not following along. Nothing's going to change from 1 hour to the next. If you want to catch up at the end of the day and find out what the latest is, I get that, but overwhelming yourself with that, and the same thing like we were just talking before I got on with, I'm on Twitter and all the social media, but I follow stuff that makes me laugh. Like there is so much humor out there. The memes that are going around, the people making fun of it, like is like people are on their game right now because they're at home. They got all this time.
But what's better than that?
Stuff.
What's better than that? I want to take you back to an event, and I'm not going to do somebody ugly on the air, but we walked into an event, and you and I were doing the physical distancing with the person that we both know. And that person looked at us, and you could see that their eyes were welling up in tears, and they said, so this is how it ends. They had got some message, something was going on. They were a little bit overwhelmed by what was going on. The news that day was, oh, they're closing places. And that's where they decided to take the conversation. And mirror neurons, I'm sad now thinking of that event, Brian. You can either surround yourself with the humor and think and have faith and do things that are going to improve your mental health and your physical health, or you can accept this as the new normal, which is a horseshit term, and whoever comes up with that should be strangled. But don't do that. Don't resort to violence. So strangle them metaphorically by doing this or telling them that they're an alarmist because it's horse crap.
To now, the other thing that comes out of these situations are man, what our country is really good at is, I guess the word is innovation. I use that word differently, but we're good at coming up with new things to do or things to create I mean, what's the net result of this? How many people are now going to have a job where they're still going to make the same amount of money they did, and they don't have to go into the office anymore because their company realized, like, hey, you know what? We could keep like half our workforce at home, cut our costs, still pay them the same amount of money.
Because now there's a test. We've seen it in progress. You're exactly right.
And it works. And now they get more time with their family. They don't have to sit in the car for an hour each way every day, getting stress built up on them, rushing out of the door. Now they get up, just like Michaela just gets up, gets Harper ready, takes her to school, comes in, starts her workday at home. It's the most amazing thing ever. Like, I mean, just that's so cool that you can do that now.
We're going to get in touch with things that were more important to us back then that we forgot. You're right.
Same thing. How many people are now reconnecting, like you just said, because everyone's taking photos. They get on here on Zoom or FaceTime. I did it with some of the guys that I'm friends with out here over the weekend. He said, hey, you want to do a happy hour at 4 in the afternoon? So we all sat down I would pull up on the computer all on FaceTime and had a beer and just shot the shit for a little while, talking about, hey, how's this affecting
still a social gathering, right?
Yeah, and we had fun with it. We're just sitting here.
And so far today, I mean, it's not even noon yet, and this is our second phone conference call of the day. So we're still getting work done. And, you know, Brian, we're getting nut punched on the amount of money that we're losing from the in-person training venues.
Yeah,
but guess what? Guess what? We can fix that, okay? And we've taken steps to fix that. But if everybody doesn't wash their hands, going right back to that airport, the guy that's walking out that I'm trying to humble into coming back and washing his hands, you know, what were you doing before? Why aren't you cleaning? Your phone and your steering wheel. I mean, they're Petri dishes. You got to clean that stuff up, right?
Phone's dirtier than your toilet seat. But next time when you do that in the bathroom,
well, mine is because I just wipe my ass with it because there's no toilet paper in Gunnison.
Pull your pants up before you tell someone to wash their hands next time. I think that's why they went running out of the bathroom. Actually, I would have ran out too.
When I'm in the airport, I conduct a limited objective experiment. When I go to the urinal, I take my
Yeah.
pants all the way to my ankles like kids do, and I
Yeah.
stand there holding up my shirt and just let nature take its
Yeah.
course.
So
That's usually when I
why,
waddle after the person and tell them to wash their hands. Are you
why
saying
else?
correlation?
There might be. Why else, like, shouldn't we be scared right now? I mean,
Okay.
because
So
this is
historically, there was a thing called the
okay.
bubonic
Now,
plague.
hang on. You're gonna go back to previous examples of this and say it's happened before.
Exactly.
Go
And
on.
if I take a look at everything that's happened throughout society until this exact second, whoop, there it goes. No, this one. Yes, I can tell you with a great amount of faith that humans will persevere, nature will persevere, the world will keep on spinning. Is there some future event that may cause that? Yeah, but it's going to be so far future, we ain't got to worry about it. So rely on your family and on your friends and on facts and on your faith. All those things happen to be F things, and on Frankenstein, for the love of God. But rely on those things that you know have gotten you through stressful incidents in the past to carry you through these. And if you don't, Brian, then what you're doing is you're the Titanic that's sinking, and you're the people on board playing while there's still life vests that are empty. We can fix this. We can control the message. We can take care of people. We can do the right thing. That's all I'm saying. Sorry, Spike Lee. I don't have enough, but I like your Oscar.
Well, yeah, and it goes back to kind of controlling and managing our emotions, I guess,
You're
is a
exactly
good way
right.
to put it. But it's really hard to do that when
It's
everyone is blasting at you or
scary.
going off,
Yeah.
or you see it on the news, or your friends are posting junk crap on social media.
Friends that you would never have thought would
Oh my
resort
God.
to that, eh? So what's this pod about, Brian? This pod isn't about Corona. This pod is about fear. Corona
Yeah.
happens to be one of the things that people are afraid of. And I will tell you that the sun is going to come up tomorrow and things are going to be okay. And people are going to, I know that, Brian, September 11th. The day
Yeah.
after September 11th, person was at Arby's. Just before that, they were at Starbucks. And the week after that and the month after, it got easier. Those are horrific things. We're not making fun of this. People dying. Things happen like that every day. Do you know what? A cop got whacked last night on the road, and we're not worried about it because we're too busy watching the COVID.
Yeah,
What we
there's
have to
been a
do is we have
few
to dial that
recently.
down. Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
horrible. Last week there was 3 while we
There's
were
a
training.
female who just got killed, run
Yeah,
over,
to
trying
run
to play
over.
spike strip,
Yep.
and I mean, yeah, there's people out there
So
still.
there's real fears out there,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
let's make sure that we temper our enthusiasm and balance our emotional and physical homeostasis to be prepared for the real thing.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good advice. Anything else you wanted to cover other
I still
than?
want to go back to who was the first person that decided it was so inconvenient to go to the bathroom outdoors that I need to shit in a room right next to my kitchen. I'm just
I
saying
I
that
so
astounds me.
can we? Has there been anyone come up with a hypothesis yet for the toilet paper? Because we had made we always get it back to whatever it is. It's about control. It's about this. Like
Yep.
you brought it back to, hey, I'm comfortable on a toilet. People like to sit on a toilet.
I can
check their
see
phone,
those things. I can hold
read a
them.
book. But
I know what
but
this means, and it's
but
comfort.
why? Like if it had said rice or oatmeal or canned beans, like I
Yes.
get it because
Yeah.
you're just normal. You're worried about.
Sterno,
But
a
that's that. But
candle.
no, but even anything food related that goes back to the 4 Fs of going, hey, like
Of
I gotta
course
be
it
able to
does.
feed myself. So what is it? I want to know. Like this fascinates me so much with the toilet
I
paper.
think that we should ask our viewers to write in what they think it is.
Oh,
And
that's a good one.
I think part of the answer, Brian, I think part of the answer is there's no toilet paper called ouch my ass hurts. It's all quilted, comfort,
Yeah, that's
happiness, right?
true.
Do you get what I'm saying? A
The
huggable little
comfort
bear.
signals.
So I'm
Yeah,
just telling you, man, I think it triggers those and we like that. There was a run on Twinkies. You couldn't get Twinkies. Why? Because it's comfort food, buddy.
yeah,
You
they'll
know?
last forever too. But I could see
Ask our
that.
viewers.
I could see that. But if anyone wants to write in,
Or send us
leftofgreg@gmail.com.
toilet paper because Gunnison's out.
You gotta watch the video of the how to use one square of toilet paper.
Exactly.
It involves tearing out a center circle and inserting your finger, and
And
then
remember,
doing your
don't flush
business.
your, don't use dryer sheets, don't use a bath towel, and certainly don't use your sock and flush it because the Gunnison Wastewater Treatment Facility asked you not to. Thank you
So
to Dale Picard and all the folks there.
I have been on lengthy field exercises where you can gradually see how things are going. By first, you see a Marine with like just one of his sleeves is missing,
Exactly.
and
Right.
then the other sleeve is missing on a skinny
Incremental.
shirt, and then like you got now it's a belly shirt because they had to use that up, and then now all it is just like the neck part right here, so that they
Yep.
can. It looks like they're wearing a shirt underneath their uniform, but they're actually not because it's all been
It's
used as
so
toilet
terrible, and
paper.
it's so true, Marin. So terrible. That's it.
Use your shower, folks. If you need to and you run out of toilet paper, just jump in the shower afterwards and clean right up.
There, Marin, you're not invited anymore. Just so you know, you shit in my shower, you're gone. Out. Folks, this too shall pass. You're going to do great.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Please also scroll down, hit the like button, subscribe, all that stuff, share it with your friends. That would be a huge benefit to us in these hard times as a small business. Little stuff on social media of sharing all this stuff and getting out there, likes, all that. It really, really helps us a
It
lot
really does.
in ways that you know are better than you sending us money or
And
toilet
you got
paper.
time. Read lessons learned once in a while, will you?
Yeah, check out
Come
the
on,
website,
Lanny.
read lessons learned. All right, folks. I think that's it for today. We'll be putting out plenty more soon.
Thank you.
Don't forget, training changes behavior.